maybe I didn't trust their viewpoint. You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, but I quickly found the zine scene. You know, John. So I saw through Dave doing Damage Zine and Cavorting Text.
Yeah.
There was other people you could, like Ed Doherty. I got in touch with Ed, who did Warehouse Zine. There was Mike Rose, who did Cow Zine, you know. And these are the people, you know. I mean, also, not all the magazines were catering for street riding then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
The occasional little bit in, you know. But with these, there was sort of people my age who I could relate to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So... yeah, that's me contributing to their zines became more my focus than getting into any sort of media coverage. If that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so it's sort of grassroots.
I mean,
grassroots media. Yeah.
I mean, I really felt a strong connection with these people and these magazines in general. Really, you know. Yeah, there was people that speak in a way that, you know, and sort of a more adult journalistic way, you know.
They were like-minded, wasn't they? They were into the same similar stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got, you know, I find, you know, those friendships I hold quite dear, you know.
Yeah. Well, did you know how many zines Damage did?
Offhand, I wouldn't know, because they must have done half a dozen. Then he did Cavorting Text. And there must have been a few of those. Yeah, I think I had them all, John. I was actually quite a hoarder of all the magazines, you know, since the early Action Bites. I ended up getting all the officials and the bi-weeklies. So I knew exactly what was going on in the scene, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did Cavorting Text, I think. Yeah, and you'd get interviews with, I think there was a Stephen King and things like that. You know what I mean? Just you wouldn't get in a BMX publication.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
more cultured, weren't they? They were further forward.
So it wasn't just BMX or skateboarding. There was other things going on as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made it a lot more interesting for me. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your average sort of at this point in time? We're like 87, 88, I guess, and you're right in on the street.
Yeah.
The street thing is like deep, right? It's just it's coming up big. Like, what was your sort of average session of like, what did you ride and what sort of tricks did you do? And like, who was you with? And like, you know, all that sort of stuff. Like,
it was, well, if we're talking about that era, John, well, basically my sort of influences, if you like, started off being sort of Ron Wilkinson's lip tricks and skateboarding.
Okay.
But pretty soon that sort of got pushed to the side and we was sort of doing his own thing, you know.
Yeah.
Especially if we were sessioning with Dave and Sid and so forth. Jesus, I remember riding with Sid and we'd create a dozen sort of blunt variations in a week, you know. So we was always coming up with ideas, and it was just the creative process that really sort of, that I was focusing on, you know. I was really sort of deep into that, you know.
Yeah.
And it was just bringing something new that people hadn't seen before, John. There is nothing more exciting than seeing something new for the first time, you know.
Yeah.
And I realised that very, very soon, especially with the BFA, if somebody did something that you'd not seen before, it stuck out like a mile, you know. And I knew pretty much that was where the focus would be, you know. Let's try and push this. Let's try and do what people haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it was, you did all three of you guys ride coaster?
I think so, yeah, for a certain while. I don't know if Dave went through bikes quite easy like I did, I think. So
okay.
But yeah, we did. But we rode slightly different. I mean, I was probably the one with sort of more strength and more sort of bunny up and so forth. Maybe a bit more aggression, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sid was ultra creative, you know. He'd always come out because he also skateboarded as well.
Okay.
So we sort of saw that. And Dave always had the capacity to do something out of the blue. You never knew where you were with Dave. You know, I'd say he had fucking balls on him. You know, he'd always had the capacities to surprise you. You know.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So and he's a creative soul as well. You know, as we all.
Yeah, know. Yeah. Always was. Yeah. What was the bike carnage like back then? Like how